Ahead of the release of his new album tomorrow, The Comeback Kid, I'm delighted to say that James Arthur is here. Now, James, you are a thinker. You think a lot about what you do in your lyrics, and your new album, congratulations, because it's absolutely compelling.
Thank you.
You must be very proud of it.
I'm extremely proud of it, yeah. It's been a lot of work and blood, sweat and tears in this album. It's very honest and personal.
Some people kind of perceived your behaviour as a bit daft, let's be honest.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I mean, the best way for me to describe it is I just got very lost. I got very swept away in all the limelight and the attention, and I just didn't deal very well with that aspect of everything. And yeah, it was tough. It was tough for me, and yeah, I'm just embarrassed looking back on how I behaved, and I wanna leave it behind and move forward now. But
the thing for you, James, is you've said you're embarrassed and you want to move on. There's plenty of people in your world, certain people with the initials JB, for instance, you maybe could say, don't acknowledge that they can get a big loss, because it's a crazy industry, isn't it? I mean, I think the nation fell in love with you when you took Nicole Scherzinger back to your hometown, went to Middlesbrough and showed her the bedsit you lived in, and people saw that you weren't living a glamorous life. Your upbringing was difficult, wasn't it? Yeah,
I mean, I come from quite a poor background and a real place, and the way that I used to deal with things in my old life was to fight back and try and survive. And when you're in the spotlight, that's not necessarily the best way to deal with things. You know, you've got to play the game to some extent, and you know, just be positive. And my perspective wasn't at that time. And yeah, it's good to be in this place now.
Credit to how hard you've worked, because Psycho dropped you, you went away, you've wrote a lot of music, and how did they come back to you? Because this has never happened, that Psycho dropped someone and then re-signed them. They drop a lot of people, you know, Sam Bailey, you know, lots of people, but they re-signed you. How did that come about?
It's a huge compliment, yeah. I mean, the fact that they came back and signed me, well, I guess they saw that I'd turned my life around, and the single has done so well without any promo, any airplay, or any radio, and we talked about it previously and potentially working together again, but that idea was kind of a bit of a fairy tale, I suppose. And then, you know, what happened, and thanks to my fan base, the song has done amazingly well, and Psycho wanted to be involved again, and I just thought that story was too good to pass up. I'm a sucker for that kind of thing, and when the history books are written and when all's said and done, people will say I was the one guy that they came back for, and that's testament to, I suppose, my music.
But it is testament to your music, because you released that single, like you say, it did so well just from the internet, which is credit to you. But were you nervous about going back to Psycho and kind of stepping back onto that stage?
100%, because I felt like I had a lot to prove, and yeah, I mean, I was embarrassed. When looking back again, I was embarrassed at the way I behaved, and you know, some of the things that I said and did, like it's not how I want to represent myself, and here I have an opportunity to do it the right way.
Now you've got that out of the way, if you were to go back to X Factor next week, could you enjoy it more?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. If they'd have let me pre-record it or something, or do it again after that, it would have been 100 times better. But, you know, there was so many emotions, like Nicole was sitting there, Simon was sitting there, and
because Nicole was your mentor.
Yeah.
Are you still in touch with her? Do you have much to do with her now?
Yeah, I mean, credit to Nicole. Like, she's a megastar, and she stayed in touch throughout the last 3 years and was always checking in to see how I was.
Your album, which you said is out tomorrow, it's very, as I say, it's very heartfelt. Almost Ed Sheeran-y, is that fair to say?
Well, I mean, me and Ed Sheeran, like, we do I guess we do a similar thing on certain things. Like, you know, I've been doing this kind of acoustic singer-songwriter thing for many, many years, and I guess I'm like the northern version of it maybe, and Ed's the southern version. But of course, he's an inspiration. It's amazing that there are elements of what he does on that album, I guess, as well.
Nothing wrong with bigging up the North, James.
Listen,
I'm into that.
Exactly, yeah.
Is there any truth in the fact that you have set your sights on Hollywood?
Well, I mean, Hollywood's a big shout, but I mean, I have genuine aspirations to make films and to maybe try and interpret some characters. I've had a funny old journey in my life, so and I think I've seen many different situations, so I think maybe I could probably interpret different characters and act.
If you'd like to see even more great guests, then click here. There are plenty more fantastic interviews to come, so make sure that you subscribe.